Hi, welcome to my conservatory on a bit of a dank, dreary Friday afternoon. But, it's nice in here, it's warm in here, I've got the fan going. I hope that's not causing too much noise. I've tested it, it's not. Welcome to my third of these little vlogs, giving people a bit of advice and a bit of background. If you like, please do like the post and subscribe to the channel. It all helps. Thank you very much. What I want to talk to you about today is something that's cropped up in a lot of my clients and a lot of the dealings I've had with various networking groups, is that the difficulty people have planning for the future, in particularly taking their team members or their service users with them. There's a constant frustration that they don't seem to be able to motivate their team or their service users, or they seem to lack motivation and don't seem to want to follow them. I can't imagine a more difficult time than right now to try and plan for the future. No one can really tell you what will happen over the next few months, any more than I could tell you what the weather's going to be like at Christmas. If I had to hazard a guess now, if I was a gambling man, I would say cold and wet. But other than that, you're on your own, really, aren't you? You can hazard a guess that the weather will be a bit nastier than it is now, or maybe not today, but but that's as much as you can do. All of this uncertainty makes exact planning almost impossible, whatever business you're in or whomever your service users are. Now, try to look at it from your team or your service users' perspective. Confidence levels are at rock bottom at the moment. They are seeing and reading everything that you're seeing and reading. We're seeing redundancies on the news every day, big multinational companies letting people go, thousands of jobs going. Areas are going into seemingly random lockdowns. Here in Greater Manchester, where I live, we're still in a heightened level of restrictions due to a spike in COVID cases locally. Hence, I'm in my conservatory. The children, if they haven't already gone back to school, they are about to go back to school. And even if your youngest is in high school age, like mine is, then the thoughts of him going to school in a mask, it's uncomfortable. And I'm quite forward thinking. I think I'm quite intelligent, and I'm not exactly happy about that situation, but that's where we are. Oh, and there's this small thing called Brexit, which is still happening and is still due to be happening at the end of the year. And if we thought COVID and the financial situation as a result of COVID is causing us problems, then Brexit is certainly the sugar on top of all of that. On top of that, if you've got team members or service users who are currently at home, they'll fall into one of two categories. They'll either hate it and be desperate to get back to the office, to meet their friends, to have a normal workplace relationship. Their mental health may be struggling, and they may be suffering slightly as a consequence of not having that interaction with their friends and work colleagues. On the other hand, you may have home workers who are being told that they're imminently going back to the workplace if they haven't already started to drip back, and they're terrified by the prospect. They don't want to set foot out there. They're quite happy, thank you very much, and productive, getting their work done at home and not having to get on public transport with face coverings. The whole thing is worrying to them, and they don't want to do it. So the idea of going back to the office is actually filling those people with dread. When making any plans, you need to keep all of these people in mind and go carefully, tread lightly. You should change and transform only as quickly as your team members can cope with, or you risk leaving team members or service users behind. only go as quick as your slowest member, is what we always used to say, particularly when I was brief time in the military. You can only go as quickly as your slowest member. Above and beyond that, to help your team and to help your service users, make sure that you are available. Be available and make sure that if you have home workers, they still feel part of the team, and that they're part of the process, and that any change is happening with them and not happening to them, which again is only going to serve to alienate some team members. Flexibility and adaptability, it goes without saying, it's just going to be key going forward. We're in a local lockdown here in Greater Manchester. We don't know from one Thursday to the next when the announcements are made, as and when we come out of it, or whether the restrictions get tighter. Business planning, life planning is difficult in them circumstances. We have grown to rely on technology to be able to communicate and to be able to be productive over these last few months. Why in the world would we just ditch it now, just for the sake of getting everyone back in the office where you feel more comfortable? The future, certainly the near future, and I don't see why it should change, has to contain both physical and virtual contact, dependent on the type of interaction that you're going to have and also who the participants are. Not everything can be done remotely, of course it can't, and not everyone can work remotely, but where it suits, we should carry on using it. So, to summarise briefly, as stressed as you feel at the moment, your team members feel just as stressed by their own situation, by their own pressures, as well as work. So by doing everything you can do to help them and to alleviate their circumstances, you can go a long way towards making your own situation a whole lot better, and perhaps making the way forward clearer. Okay, thank you. I hope you found that useful. Do please message me to arrange a no obligation chat. If you want to see more of my stuff, they can be found on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I am also on Facebook and Instagram. If you look up Craig Smith Coaching, that should be top of the list of the results of that search. Website coming, taking a bit longer than I'd hoped, but website will be coming very soon as well. Okay, again, thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.